Welcome Yamhill County to Speaking Frankly. I'm your host, Howie Harkema, and our tagline is, "And how we doin'?" Today I have two people that are here from the Peace Valley School, and the first is Molly Lord-Garrettson, who is the head of the school. And thank you very much for being here, Molly.
Thank you.
And we also have Megan Corvus, who is the board secretary at Peace Valley School and probably involved in more things than she wishes to be.
That's
so
true.
Thank you so much, Megan, for being here. So, Molly, I'm going to start with you. What is Peace Valley School?
Well, Peace Valley School is a one-room schoolhouse. It's a new educational model that I developed at my farm in Odd Duck Farm.
Awesome. So tell us about your vision for your school before you began all of this endeavor.
Well, I've been teaching for 15 years in mostly in public schools. I did teach for 2 years in India at a private school. And the combination of all of my experiences with students in the mainstream high school atmosphere kind of gave me an inspiration to create a real world-based model, because I found that a lot of students, even though they knew a lot, didn't have a lot of life skills, relationship skills, social emotional skills, or just life skills like cooking or being able to sew a button, because they spent all of their time in academic settings. They didn't get to develop those skills and practice those skills the same as they would math or history or any of those.
So these are real world skills.
Yes.
Skill sets. So awesome.
Yeah.
That's got to feel great to finally be up and running.
Yes.
So how long did it take you to get there from the
For-
time you conceived all of this?
We formed the board in May of 2015.
Yes, I mean, we first started meeting in January
Okay.
of 2016, but in my mind, the origin of the school is that Molly and I went to the Yamhill County Fair together.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was right.
Just after both of us moved back here and got into a conversation about, we were both, I think we were both pregnant at the time with our children, and we got into a conversation about what we would do for education, because obviously we're planners.
Yes.
And realized that we really had sort of similar visions at a broad level for what kind of schooling we wanted our kids to have, and that's sort of, it went kind of from there.
So what ages and grade level students do you accept at Peace Valley School?
It's a middle and high school, so we have, our youngest student is 10.
Okay.
And then right now, our oldest student is 15, but we go all the way through graduation.
Okay.
So we offer a diploma.
So what is the maximum amount of students that you can have at your school at this point with such a small room?
It's forever, and this is the way the model is designed,
Right.
and it's only 12 students.
12 students.
So if we end up going over 12 students, like more students, have more students, then we'll find another farm, another teacher.
Oh, I see.
And because the point of the school is that small group dynamic, and so that way we can do groups of 2, 3.
Well, my
4,
mom
6.
went to a one-room schoolhouse when she was young. So this model's been tried and tested many
Right.
hundreds of years. So where is this located?
So my farm, Odd Duck Farm, and Peace Valley Schools in it is up Dunaway Road, named after Abigail Dunaway, the teacher.
Yes.
So it's right past Washer School. It's technically a Dayton address, but it's right outside of Lafayette.
Yes, it
We can
is.
walk to the museum and the Pioneer Cemetery from our school.
So is there an application that you have to fill out to get your students enrolled? And is that online or can
Yes. The application is available on our website,
Yes.
peacevalley.org. So there's the application and a lot more. It's a pretty big website.
Yeah.
We worked really hard to have a lot of information about the
They
school.
brought the banner up for that
Yeah.
right now so that people can take a look at it.
Yeah.
Are you filled? That's another question.
No, we're rolling enrollment happening right now. We have 7 students, and we will accept
So
students
you
until
can
we're
have
full.
5 more.
Yep, we can have 5 more, and we can have, you can come up tomorrow.
So tell us about the tuition costs for the year. Is it a 9-month school? Is it?
Yeah, the payment options go from one-time payment to 9 months of payment or 12 months of payment. So whatever suits your family the best is the way it is. The total tuition is $10,000.
Yeah.
But that, unlike other schools where you have that $10,000 and then you have to give a whole bunch of things to the school and raise a lot of money. The students are planning fundraisers because that's part of our school model, but the tuition includes all meals.
Awesome.
So the students they shop for their groceries and they plan their meals and they cook their meals. So, but that's 3 meals a day because we have morning and afternoon snacks and then a big lunch. And then it includes an international trip and several field trips.
Wow,
And
what's
transportation.
What's the international trip?
This year we're going to Banff, Canada.
Wow.
We're going to do some ice walks and do some husky sled riding and just experience a really amazing winter. We're going in February, so
Wow.
yeah. But the kids are planning the trip for next year.
So Megan, are you a nonprofit?
Yes, Peace Valley School is a nonprofit. We filled out all the IRS paperwork. We mailed an inch of paper to them. And I wish I could remember the date, but early this year, we received our nonprofit status.
That's awesome. So you do have a board of directors then?
Yes, there are 7 members of the board of directors. Trustees, board of trustees, actually.
Oh, actually, cool. I like that.
So as not
Like
to
Linfield,
confuse.
yes.
Yeah. Yes, there are 7 people on the board of trustees, and what I love about our board is that many of us came from the community of people who went to high school together here in McMinnville.
Okay.
Or are peripherally, related to people who we went to high school with.
Sure.
So while we all started here and most of us graduated from high school here, we all went off in very different directions and came back with a really diverse set of skills. So we have consultants and an HR manager. We just have a really great skill set or set of skills in that group who all originated here. Yeah.
Well, it's great to have a diverse board like that because you have a lot to choose from in your talent pool and what can be done and quickly.
Yes.
And boy, I don't envy you as the secretary of the board. The list of things that you have to do is amazingly deep.
Yes, a lot of the details do fall to the secretary.
Yes,
yes,
a lot.
The secretary and the treasurer, to be fair. We do have a lot. I should say that the board signs up for 2-year terms.
Yes.
And we began our terms in
January.
We began in January of 2016. So we are. Some of us will be up for re-election or may choose to cycle off.
Right.
In the next January. So we will be perhaps looking for some new board members if anyone is interested.
Very interesting. Yes, a lot of boards stagger it 1 year for a couple
Yes.
people, and then
Yeah, so some of us will be staying on committed to 3-year terms
Right.
before we make a decision, and
Right.
some of us may be choosing to either roll off or just, if they want to stay, they'll just consider their term
sure.
starting over.
So would you like to talk about your mission statement? Because you have a great mission statement.
Well, our mission is to make education real. But we do that
By working together on real-world projects in order to solve universal problems.
Boy, that's a great mission statement. And I wish all of us as younger students, when we were younger students, had that same information. Because none of us got that, unless you went to a private school.
I think as we worked to develop the school, the thing that was the most telling maybe about how successful we hope to be is that every time we spoke to an adult about our mission and our vision, adults would always tell us, I want to go to your school.
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
that feels good.
So how are you funded?
Well, we're funded by tuition initially, but then, like I said, the students have already thought up, and they wrote down questions and answers, and so I wanted to
Please.
take a look at some of them. All the students got to make up their own pseudonym. So this one is Natalia Audrey Winchester.
Woo!
and she drew a unicorn on her card. The funds that they planned, they want to get a farmer's market stand. They're very excited about that, and they'd like to build a farm stand. We have to look into the laws of that and then go through that step by step. But
sure.
at the end of the year, when the next farmer's market starts up, school year, then we'd like to have a farmer's market stand. They want to put on an Earth Day celebration where they perform a small play, like a pageant about Earth Day, and we were going to connect with Miller's Woods about that so that we could all work together and be part of an Earth Day celebration. They want to put on a winter solstice gala like the snowball in Harry Potter.
Sure.
And so they have a lot of ideas. One of our students is studying fashion history, and so we wanted to do like an historical fashion show, maybe from the 1940s, so that we could really dance. And then they
dance.
Yeah. And they want to do a farm to table like competition, like Chopped.
Sure.
So they're going to connect with like we're going to connect them with a farmer and a chef, and then they'll make a course, and then all together they'll present this course at the end of the year. It's the day after our last day of school, to celebrate all of the skills that they've developed. And one of my students, who's going by the name of Miss Unicorn for this particular show, really wants to become a chef someday, and
Yes.
she wants to write a letter to Gordon Ramsay to invite him.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Have him come to town. Wouldn't
Yes.
that be fun?
Yeah.
So talk about the fundraiser that's on your Facebook page. And if you could bring up that Facebook page banner again.
Yeah, the fundraiser, Facebook has made it so easy for nonprofits
Right.
just this year, and we're really excited about using all of the online tools that are available to us as a nonprofit now that we've got our status. So between the Facebook like fundraisers that we can put on when we
Right.
feel like it's necessary, we can say, I support this cause. Peace Valley School is available as a nonprofit, so if you ever want to support us as a cause, you can choose that from your drop-down menu. And then we're also going to be participating in the Giving Tuesday, which is the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, which is a wonderful time to donate to your nonprofits or nonprofit schools to
For that tax deduction.
get that tax deduction
Yeah.
right before the end of the
Yeah.
year. So
So I should say that one other way that people could support us is if you happen to shop on Amazon.com. Amazon has a way that you can support nonprofits. Smile.amazon.com. Yeah. So if you go to smile.amazon.com, you can select a nonprofit, and we're set up there. So you can search for Peace Valley School and select us as the nonprofit that you support, and a portion of whatever you purchase from Amazon would be donated to the school on a quarterly basis. And that's a really easy way to just send us a couple of dollars.
So on the Facebook page, it says that this fundraiser is good and that people can participate through September the 20th. So you still have time. So go on Peace Valley School Facebook page and take a look at what you can do. I mean, $5 helps. Any amount of money helps.
it does. $5 is oven mitts.
Yes, oven mitts, exactly. So Peace Valley School has a learning approach on your website. Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, and this brings up a great story that just happened today. So, like I said, we work together on projects, but they're real world projects. So they're questions that come up, and we have an inquiry-based education. So the students have their individual learning paths and their goals individually throughout the year. What we do is we look at a project, and then we practice the skills we need to achieve our goals and in our individual approach to a group project. So the McMinnville Montessori School's primary classroom needed a new record player because their record player broke.
Right.
So I asked for the broken record player, and 3 students yesterday took it apart, looked up everything they needed to know about it, and they did this on their own. I just said, fix this record player. And they looked up all the information, and they worked together, and it's a mixed ages. So there was a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 13-year-old.
Oh boy, scary.
Working together, and they figured out how to take it apart so that they could put it back together again. They drew a diagram, and then they all did internet research on this brand, and figured out how it was broken, that 2 wires had snapped from overuse to the arm of a record player. Now, this is like one student had probably seen a record player, right?
Period.
Yes.
Ever.
So, but we happen to have a record collection, so we could test it to see if it worked or not. So the students determined that the wire needed to be extended and soldered. one of the students dad happened to know how to solder, and they had a soldering kit at home. So she went home, she learned from her dad how to solder, she got 2 headphone wires. She came back today, showed the other 2 how to solder the wires, and then covered it with liquid electrician's tape, and then set a timer for 4 hours for it all to dry out, and then put it all back together. Went and got a copy of Rolling Stones, Hot Rocks, and put it on the record player. And after the timer went on, we all stopped what we were doing. We gathered around the record player, and it played.
How awesome
Yeah.
is that?
So all of those skills,
Yes.
but it was driven by the students. So something that could take a really long time if you're forcing a student to do something they don't want to do, right, basically.
But these are high-tech students. I mean, to go on the internet, to find the model, the name brand, find out all of the schematics and what it was going to take, that's amazing.
Well, that's ultimately teaching is taking somebody from the known to the new. So the known to them, this is a generation of people that grew up with the internet,
Right.
grew up with screens, interfacing. So it's really easy for them to find what they're looking for
Right.
quickly online. So that research task isn't what they needed to learn. What they needed to learn was the problem solving.
Right.
And they needed to figure out what steps they had to go through. So they took a couple steps forward and then a couple steps back, and then they regrouped, and then they kept going for it. But all I did was clap when the record went off. Other than that, I was not part of
No
that
involvement
process.
other than that.
Well, I supported them and gave them space to solve their problem. So that is an involvement of my part.
That is,
Yeah.
definitely. To give them the space, especially 10 through, what was it, 13? Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and they learn farming and cooking, and so that's part. The approach is we take that, and then I take a look at those skills, and let's think about what, let's say, 8th grade skills, because there's an
Right.
8th grader there. We're learned from that. Like what we can go backwards and say, oh, see, you had this on your learning plan. One of them is leadership skills,
Sure.
and she led that group. And now she's practiced it, and so we can develop a rubric about leadership skills and check in on that throughout the time, and that's how she can practice those skills.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And we live in a throwaway society, so being able to fix something and repurpose or reuse it as it was functional to begin with, that's fantastic.
That's one of our classroom procedures. Is can we use something else for it? Like instead of buying new, can we use something else? Can we fix something? Or do we really need it? Those are questions we ask.
So what does the school day look like? Now that you're 3 days in.
Yeah, now that we're 3 days in, well, we're getting closer every day. The first day was just practicing being in the space and getting to know each other. But basically, I pick up students at our pickup location. And in the van, and take them from McMinnville to our farm.
Right.
And then at 9 o'clock is when we arrive at the farm. And they put their stuff in their lockers. There are lockers on our front porch, and because they have to have their mud boots and all of their farm gear, and then comfortable clothes for exercising in and all of that. So they have their own space that's got a lock on it that is theirs, because we share a lot in our house. And then we call it the cat table. One of our board members, Brian Altry, used this beautiful piece of round reclaimed wood to make us a low table around beanbag chairs. And so it's beautiful, but it's kind of shaped like a cat or a heart because it's from a little tree. So we call it the cat table. And we all gather around the cat table and hand out agendas for the whole day, which just shows like when the culinary teams are going to break out to prepare snack. And it's just the major events of the day. We have a morning meeting that's longer at 10 a.m. This is just, here's the stuff you're doing, and then do your morning work. This morning, the morning work was mostly household tasks. Somebody swept the floors, somebody cleaned the kitchen, somebody washed the windows, somebody took care of the technology and made sure that the charging station was in order.
Okay.
While 2 others were working on other morning work. One was making a box for our art journals to go in, and one was finishing up a writing assignment that she was really into doing, and she wanted to make sure it was finished before morning meeting.
Cool.
And then we had morning meeting, which just devised the rest of the day. I told them about the show, so we knew that these questions were going to get written, and then they went on their individual learning paths, or they joined my husband Nathan in the garden, and then they dug. There's a team onion and team potatoes, and they harvested all the potatoes and the onions, and they put them in the out to dry, and they kind of ran a relay race with a wheelbarrow to make sure everything got in because it started sprinkling.
Sure.
So, but there's always a lot of outdoor and hands-on time.
That's awesome. So what are some of the course offerings?
The course offerings, well, we offer to graduate from Peace Valley School.
Right.
You have to have all of the Oregon, for us, we took all of the Oregon requirements,
Right.
and then we added a few. So a few that we added were anatomy and physiology, over like basically what would amount to 2 credits of anatomy and physiology, and then 2 credits of health and wellness. So that includes self-care.
Yes.
And developing natural, because we have an herb garden and just using a lot of home health remedies. The students make their own safety kits that they take with them on field trips, that sort of thing. And also a social and emotional wellness aspect to the second year of health and wellness. So those are 4 extra credits added. And then there's some other life skills credits that they have to have, like learning how to drive a stick shift.
Boy, that's really important downstream.
It is. I mean, I asked business owners and community members, like, if you want your employees to have one skill, what would it be that they're not getting? And they said they all blew out their transmissions with their new employees because they didn't know how to drive stick shift, and they would like that. So that's those course offerings. But basically, because of our flexibility and our relationship with Chemeketa,
Yes.
We can offer, you can take whatever course you want. I have a student who's taking Turkish. I have a student who's taking Japanese.
Wow.
We have, like I said, the fashion history course, because we, like new old school, we integrate technology and traditional teaching methods, so we can have access to the information we need, even auditing college classes.
Sure.
And then we integrate it into the individual learning paths. You could even get your pilot's license because we have those classes available at the airport.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. So talk about cultural universals.
Sure. I mean, do you have an anthropology degree? Do you want to talk about cultural
Jump
universals?
No,
right
I think
in.
you should cover that one. But I do want to touch really quick, because I think that this is something people are sometimes confused about the school. And you did mention it, but just to go back and make sure it's clear that although it's a private school, and that means that we don't necessarily have to, for instance, go through the required testing for the state.
Yeah, like the Smarter Balance.
Yeah. When students graduate, they will receive a transcript that looks like any other high school transcript.
Sure.
And although the lesson that Molly described, about the record player sounds like they just got to play around and fix a record player, like, as a teacher, Molly's job is to recognize what elements of that are the same elements that they would have learned in, a more formal curriculum,
Sure.
like the state-based standards, the Oregon standards.
Right.
And so she's kind of behind the scenes lining up like what they did to what the standards are, which helps her say, like, cumulatively over the last 3 months, you have achieved all of the things you would have achieved if you had taken a science class.
Right.
But in a different way.
But in a
Right.
different way, yeah. So I just want to make sure, I think sometimes people hear the model and it sounds like it's very loose, and
Right.
it is, but it's also formal.
Right.
I know this seems fast, but we only have about 5 minutes left. So do you ever need volunteers?
Yes, it's only me. So people have volunteered to come in and teach seminars, which I really value, and I love volunteers for farmers and chefs, or anybody that would like to mentor about a skill
Sure.
with a student. And that goes for yoga teachers or anybody who practices a martial art. We have a movement aspect that's a necessary part of our curriculum for the mind-body connection, and a lot of students that practice yoga and martial arts in our class. So, but yeah, so if you're a community member and you really would love to share your knowledge, and especially if it's art or writing, and you would like to connect with a student, then we always need volunteers. We do have a background check that's required.
Yeah.
And we do that through the Oregon Department of Education, and so you get cleared there, and then you can come on grounds and field
if
trips.
you're interested in volunteering, there's a volunteer entry form on our website.
Yeah.
So that way you can get the information and do the background check and then let them
You
know.
can let us know if there's anything particular skill that you want to share. then-
Sure, and that makes a lot of sense. So what makes this school, I already understand it, but what makes this school different?
I think the student experience is the starkest difference. Here's some benefits of going to Peace Valley was one of the questions, and I think that's where these go, right?
Yeah.
So this is Serena, and he says, Peace Valley provides a sense of community. The school helps teach and inform children of a wide range of ages how to handle responsibility, and that and since it's a mixed ages, they teach each other and they learn to
Yes.
communicate across differences instead of being in one age group all of the time, and that helps develop culture. A child will be provided specialized learning paths so that they can gain knowledge the best they can. And the teacher and other people truly do share a sense of caring for the students. And this particular student did not have that caring experience at his old school. We've also, what makes this school different from public school, students feel like they have more attention. There are no grade levels, so you can you don't have to wait for other people to catch up to you.
Right.
So already students have advanced to a skill set that would be beyond their technical grade level. That's kind of good. And some of them are taking a little more time to catch up and fill in those gaps that they missed because they were advanced to another grade level before they were ready.
Oh, I see.
So we do a mastery-based system, and the students are very comfortable with that because one of the things they kept saying to each other today was, don't worry about it, you get it until you get it. You do it until you get it.
Right.
There's no time limit, and they had to keep being reminded because they weren't used to that. They thought, oh, when's this period over? And that's not the way it is. And we were doing scale drawings, and that's difficult to do.
So what does teaching peace-mindedness look like for the youth?
It's a practice, and that's the same thing as cooking. Like, you can't take peace class or cooking class. You need to practice the skills, or you don't fully master them or develop them.
Right.
So it's a day, every day. Today there was a chance. I stopped a conversation for a second. I said, you have a chance right now. Somebody was misinformed about the definition. You have a chance right now to say what I've heard, this is what I believe, or to say you're wrong. Which choice are you going to make?
Yes.
And then they made a choice, a peaceful choice, and they continued the conversation.
Well, you were out at the Peace Village, and you were one of the educators.
Yeah, I was the camp director.
And that was fantastic.
Yeah.
So this is going to be my last question, and it's for both of you.
Okay, you go first.
And Megan's going to go first. So, what drew you to do this community work for the youth?
I mentioned before the story of our kind of initial conversation about this. I think for myself, from my own personal experience and thinking about my own child, so selfishly maybe, I am inspired to try to come up with a new solution to schooling that's maybe a little more modern or takes advantage of the advantages that we have now with technology. But I also, I felt like returning home and bringing the skills that I have from my job, from my experiences living outside of Oregon and working at some pretty large companies. I felt like it was a good combination of my desire to see something new be built and my own skill set that felt like I could actually lend something to help it be
Very
real.
good. Same question to you, Molly.
Well, for me, it's a calling, and I was raised by a remarkable woman who encouraged being part of community at all times. So I started volunteering at the hospital here in McMinnville when I was 14. She said I had to volunteer before I could get a job anywhere, and that was just the way it was. Just serving the community was how I was raised, and so that's why I'm with Hands and Words Are Not for Hurting. That's why I did the Peace Village. That's why I'm a Seroptimist. It's because that's who I am as a person. I was raised that way, and I'm called to teach. Like, I woke up one day and I just knew it. I just knew I had to be a teacher, and every day since that, I really love that I've made that choice. I love my job.
Thank you so much, Molly, for being on. Thank you, Megan, so much for being
Thank
on.
you.
Good luck to you both with Peace Valley School and your board as well. So if you want to get involved, if you want to volunteer, if you want to contribute, go on their website, go on their Facebook page. They're still looking for 5 more students to fill the classroom. So if you have a school-age child from
10 and
7th
up.
grade on,
Yeah.
yes, get them signed up. Thank you for watching today.